a power washing business and you are trying to grow and scale it, then you are in the right place. And today I've got a super awesome video. I actually got interviewed by another gentleman that's in the exterior cleaning industry. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is play that video for you. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Exterior Clean University, and we have a special guest for you, Caden Hoover. Caden, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Caden, so if you could just give us a little background about kind of how you got in the, cleaning industry and, where you're located.
Yeah. So I always had a little bit of an entrepreneurial bug. At the age of 12, I actually started my first business, if you will. Didn't really have an LLC or anything, but made a few $1,000s selling paracord bracelets. So I would make those and then sell those to people. But come the end of high school, I did not know what I wanted to do with my life. So I decided to go to college. But right before I started college, I knew I needed to get some sort of job. And I actually came across the exterior cleaning industry. And so I decided that it would make more sense for me to start my own business because that's what I wanted to do anyways while I went to college. So jumped into it. And yeah, that's how I got into it. And I am from Missouri. So
Awesome. So I know you sold your company, your cleaning business. So what things are you doing at right now? Because I mean, I know you have your Facebook group, and that's kind of how I kind of found you. If you could kind of go into like what things you're doing at this moment.
yeah. So for the last 3 years, I've had the desire to get into mergers and acquisitions. So I am currently trying to purchase companies. So actively looking at different companies, specifically in home services. So that's one thing I'm doing. But I also realize that a lot of people struggle with marketing stuff in our industry. So that's part of why I created the Facebook group and just helping people basically that, are in the beginning stages with marketing things.
Do you have like a coaching program or something like that? Or do you run like a digital agency where you do like leads and websites, things like that?
Yep. So I have actually partnered with an agency. There's an agency in Springfield, Missouri.
Okay.
And they've got 25 people. So I have partnered with them. All of their people are in Missouri. It's not outsourced.
Gotcha.
So we do offer digital marketing stuff, but we also have for like people that want to do it themselves, courses and some basically like ebooks and stuff like that, and a membership.
Okay. And what has made you, quick thing, like why'd you sell your business? Is it because you wanted to get more in the like merger and acquisitions and kind of spend more time? Because as we all know, running a clean business, it is a 24/7 job. So
It is. So there were really three reasons. The one of the main reasons, my wife got a job offer and she's a physical therapist, and she specialized in pelvic health. So there's a clinic that she got a job offer for that just specializes in that. So we were moving.
Gotcha.
There was someone interested. That's the second reason. And then thirdly, is because I wanted to get into the mergers and acquisition stuff.
Okay. And I think that's really interesting because most people that like watch this, they're in like the newer they're like brand new to starting a business, or they just want to get information. Not too many people I speak with are kind of in that other side of the field, the merger. So I think that's really interesting. And because I talk a lot about mindset, and you have to have like a dog mentality to run if you want to have any successful business, you have to have that mental mindset, like of grinding nonstop, putting the right people around you to be successful. Like, how has your mindset mentally been from when you had your cleaning business now to your mindset, like on more of the, I don't want to say more of the entrepreneurial because you were always entrepreneur, but now you're working with so many different entrepreneurs and helping them grow, their businesses.
Yeah. So it has evolved constantly, and it seems to evolve every day. So in the beginning, there were just And one thing that I've taken is that, what we actually believe is how we act. So the beliefs that you have, like, not determine, but kind of push your actions in a certain way. And by getting around people that are doing really big things and push you, that helps open up your beliefs, open up your mind, and actually, allow you to think bigger. Just for some examples, in the beginning of my company, I did what a lot of people do, and I looked at, what all the other people in my area were charging.
Yeah.
And because I was brand new, I was like, I'm going to be the cheapest. Well, that was just a mindset thing. Come to find out, we actually were on the higher end of the actual experience that we were providing to our customers. And it was not lining up once we started hiring people as far as the money side of things, because we were cheap, but we were, spending so much time just giving them a great experience that we were pretty much losing money. And then, I had to break the mindset of like, not selling from my own pocket, but selling to people that actually value what we have so that we could charge a higher price. And then that has just continually evolved. The more that you get around people that are doing big things, it's pretty incredible to really understand what's possible. And a mistake that I made in the first, call it 2 years of my company, the power washing company, was only trying to learn from and talk to people that were in our industry specifically. This industry, because it's got such a low barrier to entry, it's very fragmented. So there's a lot of companies, but most of them aren't doing tens, 20, 100 millions of dollars, right? But there are companies out there that do that, and getting around people that, are doing things much bigger than a lot of power washing companies was really eye-opening. So it's my belief that the people that you're around really open up your eyes to what is actually possible.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's not possible to build a big power washing business. I know a lot of people that have done it. And then there's also other similar service industries where there's companies that have, $10 million, $100 million companies.
Right. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Would you say it's harder to grow like a home service business, or is it harder to grow kind of what you're doing, pretty much, scale other people's companies? Like what is more difficult?
Everything has its challenges, and from the outside looking in, the grass is always greener.
Yeah.
So what I'll say with that, a service company is hard to run no matter what, because it's very operationally heavy. Even like a construction company, an HVAC company, whatever it may be, there's a lot of moving parts operationally. So if you do something, whether it's online or whatever it may be, you kind of get rid of that operational piece, but you lose a lot of things, like the fact that with a service company, you get to be face to face with people and you can build trust and, show them the value. Whereas when you move online, you lose that component. Yeah. So I think there's two sides to that. And truthfully, I don't think that one is necessarily harder than the other. In my experience so far, that is. I think it's just more so about the individual being able to be consistent, show up every day, and do what is actually required to move things forward.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because I mean, as far as getting clients, right? Like, because, like home service, we're so big on Google ads, Facebook ads, referral. Like, have you been able to apply that same type of marketing for your new ventures?
So I actually haven't really ran any ads for it yet, because we have the Facebook group community. So that's been a big piece. But what I will say, and this is a lesson that's kind of come from getting around people and like talking to a lot of different business owners, is that, all of the advertising and marketing is pretty much the same, right? Like the whole goal of it is to become known, get in front of a potential prospect that would be the right fit, and then eventually sell them on whatever you're offering. So it's not so much that the actual medium that you're delivering the message in, like that doesn't really matter. It's more so about being able to get in front of them effectively.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And what would you say, to new, since you've kind of you've done both, what would you say to, new entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs that in the home service realm that have been just struggling for leads, right? I think lead generation is probably the hardest thing. I mean, if you can't keep a schedule, you can't keep employees, you can't keep, you can't keep the lights on, like what especially when they're down and they're having that mental mindset, like, oh man, I got to get a job. Because I don't know if you've seen this, but at least me, like, being in the industry 3 years, most of the people that started with me, they're all gone. They've all their companies are gone. Like, what advice would you give someone when they're not reaching the full potential?
So first things first, I've heard this from multiple people before, and it's that most people give up when it gets hard. And no matter who you are or what you're doing, there's always going to be bumps in the road, right? Whether it is generating leads or whatever you're doing in your company, if you're trying to build something, there's going to be bumps in the road. And with lead generation, the biggest mistake that I see, I'll start with that, is that a lot of times people will dabble with things. So they'll try Facebook ads, they'll try Google ads, they'll try yard signs, they'll try flyers, but they're not doing enough of it to actually get a data set that you can test, future marketing campaigns on. The actual, again, like I said, the medium that the sales message, the marketing message is delivered on doesn't really matter as long as it's getting in front of the right people and staying in front of them consistently. And in the beginning is the hardest, because once you become established, then you have past clients where you can get repeat work. So in the beginning, it's pretty much just like doing whatever you can to land jobs, whether it's giving free demos, giving, even if you go door to door and offer free driveway cleaning and then upsell house washes, like whatever you have to do to get jobs in the beginning so that you can get a base, get customers, build your own confidence, get reviews, be able to get referrals and all of those things. So it's pushing a rock up a hill. It's really what it is. And there were things that worked for my company, like specific things that we did. But what I found, especially after talking to like thousands of other power washing business owners at this point, is that, again, if I were to tell you the specific things that worked for me, that doesn't mean they're going to work for you. Right. It's not how the world works, right? So picking something and trying it, something that will get in front of your target audience. For example, if you are going after people that are middle-aged, they may not be on Snapchat. I don't know. I'm just saying. So obviously that's a very far end of the spectrum. But picking something as far as a marketing method that is for sure going to get in front of your target audience, and then, testing things until you figure out something that kind of works. And then from there, testing against that to see how you can improve it and get a better ROI on what you're actually doing.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. That makes sense.
I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, no, you did. Yeah, and that's the thing. Not, just because something works in your location. Like, for example, the Pacific Northwest, they're all like Moss, right? Like I don't have Moss. So in where I'm at, it's like, most of their services are, moss prevention or just, roof washing, which I don't really do a lot of roof washing where I'm at. That's not popular. So yeah, everything's different. People that are interested in like your services, do you have like package deals? Do you have like ABC plan? Like, do you have certain plans for people, like if they're interested, for you to help get them from here to here?
Yeah. So the majority of what we do is helping people get past like the 6-figure and beyond mark, right?
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of people that are coming into the industry, new to the industry, that just haven't figured that piece out yet. So that is basically what we do. There's basically two sides to it. So if you are in the very beginning stages, that's where like we have some digital products, so courses, lead gen blueprint, stuff like that. That's the stuff that in the beginning you can use those things to start to get traction, get leads, and then from there, the agency that we have, we do basically done for you marketing services. So more in the beginning stages, which I think you said a lot of people that listen to that. Yeah. We have a lot of resources at powerwashsecrets.com. So if you go there, there's some blog posts, there's free resources, a few courses, the Ultimate Lead Gen Blueprint, like all of that is housed there. And we just launched that website like a month ago.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all very fresh. But we've got people that have been going through some of those things for the last few months now, and we just kind of packages it into an actual website.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Do what are your goal, like your short and long-term goals? Like, do you want to just keep buying businesses and then just kind of do you when you buy them, are you becoming partners with them and then you're just helping them grow, or you're like taking over the reins?
So it depends. So I sold my company, what is it? It was like 2 months ago.
Mhm.
So I was still working in that up until 2 months ago. So I have, over the last 2 months, been starting to put the stuff together for the online stuff, and then started talking to business owners about purchasing.
Gotcha.
So we have not closed on something yet. However, we've gotten into the process of like due diligence and stuff like
Mm,
that. But something that was really eye opening for me, and I wish I would have found out when I was younger, and especially early on in my power washing company, is the fact that there are so many ways to structure a deal as far as buying a company. You do not need a lot of money to buy a company, especially if you have competitors. So, like,
right.
say you've got 10 competitors in your area, you could buy three of them and literally 3x your company in a year. So, and I don't know if that math is right, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that is something that was super eye-opening to me. With that being said, because there's so many different ways that stuff can be structured, it really depends. So like one of the companies that we're currently talking to, it would be more of a partnership where we came on and helped them grow. And then there's two others that we're talking to where it would be like us completely taking it over and taking the reins and going from there. But as far as goals, I am still in my 20s, so I really enjoy business. So it's fun to help others grow their business. So just continuing to talk about business every day and help people grow their business is something that I am happy to do for a long time. And then on top of that, purchasing businesses, that's essentially the same thing. It's just doing
Right.
it in practice. You know what I mean? So I don't know that there's like specific revenue marks or stuff like that, but more so just staying in the game of business, if you will.
Right. Yeah, and your Facebook group is impressive. Like, how have you been able to scale that so fast? Because that, honestly, you've done a really good job with that.
Well, thank you for that. It sucked. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So and I will say, in the very beginning of my company, I joined Facebook groups because there's some that have been around
Yeah.
for a while, and I noticed that a lot of people were super negative. Someone new coming in,
Right.
there's so many questions you have. It's unreasonable for you to not ask questions to a group of people that should be able to help you, right? And I just noticed that trend when I was early on, and I ended up leaving all of them
Mm,
and just grew my company. Like I mentioned, I I sought out a lot of information outside of our industry specifically, and that's how I learned a lot. And then I still noticed that there was that gap in the same, vibe in those Facebook groups. So that's why I decided to start that one. And what I did was I would just go find people that were in our industry, tell them about it, and then basically just provide a lot of value. That's what I ended up doing. I would, if people had questions, I would DM them, answer their questions to the best of my ability. If there was something specific I could give them as far as a scenario that I had been through that was similar to what they were asking, helping them do that, and then inviting them to join the group as well. And we have rigorously
mm,
monitored that to keep the negativity out of it. So we approve only certain people, and we have kicked a lot of people out when they decide that they want to be negative.
yeah.
But I really think the majority of it came from just providing a lot of value. And same with any business. The more value that you
Right.
provide, the more traction that you get at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think I'm in all the groups too. And yeah, when I was brand new too, I was getting frustrated because I would ask a question and they would just say smart comments. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, and something I noticed, especially since I've started that group, I've paid attention to the other ones again. And what I've noticed is that the people that have the time to actually interact and answer everybody's questions probably aren't actually running a business.
yeah.
Because when I was running my business, I did not have time to be in a group answering that many questions in the first place. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah, no, definitely. And did you go to the huge convention?
I have not been before.
Okay, no, me either. And because I talk to so many guys, you know, in our industry, and I'm like, man, I gotta go. It just seems. I know that's a random question, but I'm like, I'm glad I'm not the only one because it seems like everyone's been.
Yeah, it's you know, I think the concept of it's great. I just have never taken the time to actually go. And like I mentioned, I a lot of stuff that I learned from and did was outside of our industry. So I've been to events, they just
Yeah,
weren't specific to our industry.
gotcha, gotcha. And what is one thing now that you know kind of looking back when you did have your cleaning business, like you're like, man, I wish I would have done this, like, because I don't know how big your team was or whatever, like that, but is there any like nuggets of info you're like, man, if I would have known this, I could have scaled or made X amount, of dollars more?
Yeah, so I'll give a couple if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So the first thing is I wish I would have tracked everything sooner. So marketing KPIs, operational KPIs, customer service or customer experience KPIs, that stuff. Because in the beginning, I made a lot of decisions based on how I felt, not based on data. And
Gotcha.
business is just, there are people involved. It is relationships, but it's also a bunch of numbers. So if you understand your numbers, you remove the variable of not understanding stuff. So tracking simple KPIs like your customer acquisition cost, your cost per lead, and doing that across different marketing campaigns and things like that can really give you certainty in spending money to market because you know what's going to happen when you actually spend that money. So that would be one thing. Another thing is hiring. The first hire that I made was a friend, and it was because I needed help, and I just hired a friend, and that was the very very wrong decision, for lack of better terms. It just didn't work out. And moving forward, what I found is that hiring the right people, taking the time to actually find someone that is a good fit, is top of the top, which is not easy to do, especially for like a cleaning technician
Right.
position. But it really comes back tenfold because you're not having to micromanage them. You're not having to tell them every day like what to do. Like they know what to do. They can interact with customers and things like that. And then the last thing I'll say is with marketing. So one mistake that I made was just trying to market to a very broad audience at first. Whereas if you go like to a neighborhood and say it's a neighborhood of ideal clients, so nice houses, people that value maintaining their property, have expendable cash to spend on services, and just very diligently marketing to that one area, pretty much dominating that neighborhood and then moving to other neighborhoods. Because the momentum that you get by staying in one neighborhood is crazy. Because say that you do a flyer campaign to everyone in that neighborhood, then you put yard signs at every entrance and exit, and then you run a Facebook ad that's just over that neighborhood, and then your truck is going in and out of that neighborhood. Like people are seeing you over and over and over again in a very short period of time. And it can build up a lot of momentum, and in a short period of time, you can take over an entire neighborhood.
Oh yeah, no, that's something that I realized probably like 6 months ago about that. We are going way too broad, and then we start just targeting certain neighborhoods that I know, have the income that they could spend, and yeah, that it helped out a lot.
Yeah.
And
And I think it's a little bit of an ego thing sometimes. It was for me, like I wanted to clean everywhere.
yeah,
But what I realized is that you make a lot more money and build a lot more traction by just going to small sections, taking those over, and then moving to another one and doing the same thing.
oh yeah, no, absolutely. And and I do appreciate your time, and
Yeah.
kind of like the last thing, any last remarks, to just someone watching this, and either they're starting a business or they're in it, like obviously you've been successful in scaling your business, now you're helping grow businesses on any ends of the spectrum, any last words of info?
Yeah. So I'll say two things. One, get around people that are ahead of where you're at currently. So community and network of people can be astronomical as far as the results that it brings to you. And then secondly, I would say just understanding the fact that no matter what you're doing, where you're at, any of those things, there is going to be times that you get kicked in the teeth, for lack of better terms. And the ability to just get right back to it is huge, because time is something that, you know, everybody has the same amount of time in a day. So if you can keep going faster than others can, that is how you'll actually be able to do stuff. So those are the two things I would say.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, thank you so much. And no, that was really good information. And I just want to say I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome. So I hope you enjoyed that video. We just put that there so that you can, you know, hopefully get some value from it. But please do comment below if you have questions, like and subscribe so that you can get more of our videos that we drop, and check out the links below if you are trying to grow your company. So other than that, we will see you in the next one.